Hey guys, this week's tip coincides with a recently updated white paper we did on SMS payment. On tap for this week, we're going to review Central Refund. We're going to show you a live demonstration of what actually happens with the module, what it's used for, that sort of thing. And then we're also going to use this video to set up a future video about some of the extensions within the SMS payment module itself. Now, just in case you're not familiar with the term or the module of Central Refund, basically what it is it's a tool set that chain stores utilize to control, or maybe better control, I guess, refunds across all the stores within the chain. So what we're going to do, and we'll hop into it here in just a second, is we're going to complete a transaction in store number one. Then we're going to hop over to another store and then try to refund that transaction. Well, what we're doing, you guys have seen this in the past, where we're able to print little barcodes at the bottom of the receipt. Those barcodes can be scanned to help speed up the actual refund of that item. In this case, when we scan that refund barcode at the bottom of the receipt, we're going to be fetching that data, pulling it from the host server to whatever store we are in the chain. You'll see here in just a second. What does it do? Well, it ensures, just like before, that the price is accurate, the quantity is accurate, all that good stuff is accurate, but it also only allows the customer to return those items one time throughout the entire chain, no matter how many times they try to do the refund. It's kind of a cool little tool, so let's hop into this baby and let me show you how it works. So first things first, as you've read probably in that white paper, SMS Payment has a couple different modules that are installed differently depending where you are in the chain of the store hierarchy. So if you're at host, there's a server application for SMS Payment. Part of that module, the server piece, is installed there. Then when you go down to the store level, there's two pieces that are installed for SMS Payment. There's the server side that goes on the store's back office, and then there's the client side that goes on each of the registers, each of the lanes out there in your store. So when you expand upon the base SMS Payment by adding in Central Refund, that's really what we're doing. We're taking base SMS Payment and we're adding to the functionality of it by installing Central Refund. And we do so at the host, at the back office of the store, and then all the way down to the individual lane too. Now, if you're at the store level, there's not a whole heck of a lot of configuration that you need to do. Your reseller has most of that work already done for you. But in SMS Pro, if you hit the maintenance button up here at the top, and then you come down to utilities and hit options, you're going to have a general option list. And this general setup is for centralized refund. Now, like I said, there's not a whole heck of a lot for you to do at store level. You're going to put in the IP address and the port that's associated with the SMS payment module. That all comes from host. So this is the IP address of the host PC that's running SMS Payment. These other three options here, you're just going to have to chat with your reseller and see what is best for the environment that you're in. This first one here is pretty self-explanatory. On the refund, you're forcing the same tender as the customer originally used in a transaction. So cash, cash, credit, credit, that makes pretty much a lot of sense. The second one here, if you have bottle deposits or other types of taxes, things like that, you're going to refund the original amount of bottle deposits or tax, just in case there's a period in time where those taxes or maybe that bottle link value, that changes. That's what that's for. This last one here is to allow open subdepartment or department keyed returns. That's, when you do like a 250 return it to grocery, something like that. That would allow you to do that, or in this case here, not allow it. All these are null, so we can't do any of these functions. So let's hop over into SMS POS and take a look at how this baby runs. All right, so I hopped over into my basic SMS POS and I ran a quick transaction here because I want to show you there's two places I want you to look at. On the receipt, I'm in store number one, and then also up here in my SMS screen itself, it's letting me know that I'm in store number one as well. That's going to be critical as we step through this. Now, this is kind of a cumbersome process because everything is on one machine. So I'm going to do a transaction. We're going to go and force the data to the server at host, and then I'm going to have to hop over into another SMS so all my scanning pieces and all that sort of stuff works. So let's go ahead and enter a customer in because there's going to be a couple advantages here. Now you saw the screen here turn yellow, and that's because SMS Payment is activated because this is a points bearing customer. And now some points are going to be awarded here when we get through this transaction. So let's go ahead and ring in an item here, the same old energy drink you've seen me done 1,000 times. Here's the dollar amount, it's got bottle deposit, all that nice stuff, also points. Now I'm going to go ahead and subtotal, and you've probably seen this before as well. The customer can get a discount and use points as a tender. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to go ahead and cash out. And now I'm going to show you on the receipt a couple things. We're still in store number one. That's fantastic. Here's the transaction amount. Now down here at the bottom, you're going to see a couple things. The SMS point server working, so the points were added to the customer's account. And then down here at the bottom, on our demos, we're not able to have a barcode on our digital receipt like this, but this is what the barcode is. Now in real life, yours is going to look something more like this here, where you've got a standard store receipt. This is actually a scanned version of a printed receipt, and you can kind of see the barcode down here at the bottom. Mine isn't capable of doing that, but what I'm going to do is copy this number out, and I'm going to throw it over into a barcode generator that I'm going to use off to the side, and that's what we're going to use to scan here in just a bit. So we've done our transaction here. We're in good shape, and now I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Now, in this scenario, what I have to do is go ahead and send this data to host. In your real world, what you guys are going to have are feeds throughout the day that are going to be sent from the store up to host with this type of information. You're going to be using the scheduler and the task manager to do that. So I'm going to open up Launchpad. You know, he's kind of a conductor behind the scenes that tells everybody who, what, when, where, how, and all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do is open up my scheduler, move this over so you guys can see it, and I'm going to activate and execute my deploy to head office function. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. Yeah, I want to run it. Yes, I want to run it for today. And basically what's happening is Launchpad down here in the corner, you guys can't see it, is doing his business. He's sending all the data of all the transactions that we've conducted at store number 1 right here up the host. That's really all I did. I had to force that in this case because I'm not in a true live environment. Now I'm going to go ahead and hop back into host and let you take a look at the transaction up there. Then we're going to go hop into store number 3 and we're going to try to do a refund. Pretty cool stuff, so hang on while I set it up. All right, so I hop back to my SMS Pro at host. I know that because I can see the host number right up here, 999. I went ahead and hit the electronic journal because that's what we're going to search on so that I can prove to you that my transaction went from store 1 up to host. I'm just in journal. I'm going to hop into today's date, go to the transaction, run it for today's date. On my target, I'm going to go ahead and switch it. You can see my 3 stores here that we've got set up. I'm just going to select store number 1 to make it quick and easy, launch it. Here are my transactions, and if all goes well, this last transaction right down here is the one we just did, and yep, it sure is. Here's a customer, here's the energy drink, the points that he earned, all that good stuff. This all happened at store number 1 and flowed back to host so that we have all this data now captured and available at host to be disseminated back down to the other stores. That's the power of Central Refund, and that's what it does. It helps control returned merchandise throughout a chain. So now we're going to hop over into store number, let's go to store number 3, and we're going to scan that refund barcode that we created at store number 1 and see what happens. All right, so we drove around town a little bit. Now I'm over in store number 3. You can see that here on the receipt for this transaction I went ahead and set up for you, and you can also see it on my SMS POS screen right up here. I'm in store number 3 now. So we're going to go ahead and clear this baby out. I'm in a basic transaction right now, and I'm signed in as just a general old cashier. Now you guys can't see this, but there's a barcode off to my screen, and that barcode is that exact refund number that was printed on the receipt at store number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and scan that, and let's watch what happens. I scan it. You can see it went yellow. Let me drag this out the way here. You see it went yellow right here in the activity window, and that yellow was when the system at store number 3 communicating back to host. Now I'm going to drag this back up here and center that. Now this is exactly what happens when you run refund at the store level 2. The only difference is when we scan this particular barcode, it fetches the data from host. So here's the data from host from store number 1, where this customer bought the energy drink and he paid the taxes and the bottle deposit and all that good stuff. So that's pretty cool. We were able to bring data down from the host server for a transaction that happened in a store way the heck across town in our store number 3. All right, so we need to explain a couple things in this window that came up as a result of scanning that refund code. And then we'll hop into some other cool stuff that I want to show you as well. So let's say the customer's got a big old laundry list of items that they purchased in your store, and you want to return just one of them. Just find whatever item it is they want to return, highlight it, and hit refund 1. In this case, we only got one item on it, so we're just going to hit the refund all button. I'm going to get to that here in just a second. So the key here is we got 2 options. Scroll through the list of items, find the item that you want, refund 1 if you just need to refund just that single item. Or in this case, we need to refund the whole darn order. Just go ahead and hit the refund all button. You'll see what happens. We're now in a refund transaction mode back here at our POS. We can see the energy drink. We can see what the refund is going to be. You can see it's also not refunding, that's not the right words, but it's also taken back from the customer the points that he earned on the transaction that was positive in store number 1. So that's pretty cool. We're taking the points back because it's a refunded item. And then you can see the bottle deposit right up here. So we'll go ahead and total this bad boy out, and you'll see on the receipt that now we have a standard refunded receipt, and you're going to have all the same details. And eventually, when you run the upload all the data from host, or to host I should say, from store number 3, all this data will flow back to host. Then everyone at host will know that this particular item on the original transaction 360 from store number 1 was returned. Now I'm going to prove that to you here in just a second. Let me shut down this store, drive across town, we'll go back to store number 1 and try this bad boy again. Alright, so we hopped in a car, drove back to store number 1. I had to stop for gas and a refreshment on the way, so sorry for that delay, but I wanted to prove to you that we're back at store number 1, so I ran a quick transaction. You can see we're back at store 1. You can also see it up here in my SMS POS screen. We'll go ahead and clear this out. Now what we're going to do, we're back in store 1. Let's say that the customer, for whatever reason, is in cahoots with somebody and they're trying to do a refund at 2 different stores. Or if you don't like that scenario, let's just say the customer forgot they returned the merchandise and they're accidentally going back to store number 1 to try to return the same merchandise, that they stole or found out in the parking lot or whatever. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go ahead and scan that same exact refund code from the original sale and watch what happens. It goes and it fetches the data from the host server just like before, but there aren't any items associated with this particular refund request. Why? Well, we already refunded all the items on the order, and we refunded those back in store number 3, remember? So that's kind of cool. So this is Central Refund at its core. It's a perfect utility to help chains take better control over refunds throughout the chain. Items can only be returned once, doesn't matter what store, where it's at, any of that stuff. You just saw, we drove across town, we tried to return the same thing, and it doesn't happen. It also makes sure that all stores throughout the chain refund or return the merchandise for the exact same price that the customer originally paid. If we had discounts on that item way back when, that would be accounted for in the return. And in fact, I'm going to show you that here in just a second. But any discounts, markdowns, coupons, whatever it may be, all of that is accounted for. And you don't have to remember what happened 6-8 weeks ago when you scan it. When you scan that refund code, it fetches the data from the host server. All that information from the original transaction flows down, so you're 100% accurate during any type of return. So I'm going to set up one other scenario for you to set up the video for next time. Alright, so for this last scenario, I went ahead and I rang up a transaction in store 1 just like what we did before. This time I got in my car and I drove over to store number 2 this time just to make sure that you know I'm there. So we're at store number 2. I'm going to scan the refund barcode from store number 1 again, and you're going to see a bunch of items now come up like before. Incidentally, these Pepsi 6-packs were all discounted. So that discounted price is what's showing up here. In this case, what I'm going to do is just select this item right here, and I'm going to go ahead and refund just that one, and it's just going to confirm the price that, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. And just like before, it's going to go ahead and bring in that price to be refunded. And you can see I got the taxes and all that stuff down here. Now the main difference between this transaction and the one that we did just a few minutes ago is that I'm not going to give the customer cash back. Instead, I have a policy at my chain that any returned merchandise, you get a gift card for my store. So you can return the merchandise all you like, but I'm going to give you back a gift card. Now in my scenario here, I can't do cards in this digital format, so I'm going to do a voucher. It's the same basic concept though. And you'll see here in just a second, I'm going to print out a receipt that's going to have a second barcode on it that's going to have stored value in it. So this is the teaser for the next video on SMS payment. Another module for prepaid vouchers and gift cards. Manage them in your store with no transaction fees. So to do this, I'm going to manually step through the process. I don't have everything automated just yet, but by the time we get to that video, I will. So I just want to step through the process with you. I'm going to go ahead and SMS payment on my refund mode, do an activating a prepaid voucher. That's what we're going to do. We're going to verify the amount, which is right down here on our POS screen, of 0.67. We'll go ahead and enter that in. Now look what happened. We've got our negative refund amount with the tax and all that. You got to add the tax down here. Our prepaid activation piece right here of 67 cents, the balance due is 0. I'm going to go ahead and subtotal this baby out and tender it out, and I'm going to show you the receipt here. Now at the bottom of this receipt, there are 2 barcodes. The original one, one like you would normally be used to seeing right down here, this is what's all about this transaction. And we've also got a prepay activated voucher right here. This is a barcode with stored value of 67 cents. Now, what's going to happen in SMS is that we're going to manage this balance for you so that when the customer comes back in or uses this on his next transaction, you're going to scan this barcode and it's going to deduct this amount from that prepaid card or prepaid voucher in this case. So pretty cool. We're going to step into that the next time once we set up this video on SMS payment. Well, that's it for this week's tip. Hopefully we've given you a couple new ideas that you can deploy within your chain store environment. And I look forward to showing you some of those other modules of SMS payment. Until then, have a great day.